Sama je dengan Reverse Harem, a genre that is infamous for its library of bottom-of-the-barrel game and anime. Reverse Harem as a genre is actually pretty normal when compared to counterpart, Shonen Harem. The only difference is that one is targeted towards young boys while the other one targets to young girls. However though, why is that most harem anime tends to be a lot worse than shonen anime? I think it boils down to one simple big reason, and that is over-pandering and laziness. I know I can hear you what you're thinking right now. Isn't shonen anime is also facing the same issue? But here's the difference: diversity and motives. Unlike most 90% reverse harem, 60% of shonen harem have respect with their female character and sometimes their main character. Take for example with the recent anime season lineup, couple of Koku, trapped in a dating sim, the world of ultimate games is a tough for mob. The world finds doesn't get discarded into another world as an Astro Cat, Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy, Call of the Night, and Skeleton Knight in another world. However, I digress since most of the examples that I gave are not the best example because only one out of the 6 anime that I mentioned is a true harem anime, which is, a couple of cocoon, while the other anime only gives hints. Some vibe that the anime has some form of harem. But why didn't you mention friend and girlfriend, college, or college? Well, we don't mention those two here because they are embarrassment even to my low standard. With that aside, my point here is that you always somehow get something different in some each shonen anime, while in most reverse harem anime, 98% they will always a carbon copy of each other with the same hopeless, dense, and unmotivated and uninteresting main character, with the same type of boring husbando that always going to be either cute or macho or handsome with no nuance in them whatsoever fucking ever, and it's always in your face design wise. I always needed the villains that always try to define the main character's happiness for some reason. To get into more details, the main character almost always have no individuality or are written in accordance with general norm convention. Harem anime on the other hand usually consists of male lead with a goal or more ambition in mind and develop into a more complex character as the story goes on. Well, sometimes. In hindsight, most reverse harem don't fully utilize all of their character to their full potential. Everything always going to fall flat and kind of afford to even get their character to be 2-dimensional, let alone 3-dimensional. I guess you can make the same argument with shonen harem anime with all of the point that I presented, but in my opinion, shonen harem at this point have experienced through lots of up and down that, and at this point it already found goal line where most of it can be tolerable, consumable, and enjoyable. Well, for the most part, of course with some few exceptions which name I already mentioned about 50 seconds ago. The state where reverse harem anime is at the moment the same state as shonen harem was in back 20 years ago, where most of it is bland, superficial, and just mostly bad. However, there are a few shining exceptions to this condition, and there's one particular that I would like to talk about in this video. Before that, I of course need to mention the obvious one, of course. If not, I will get braided in the comment section. Here's some few reverse harem anime that's an exception to the usual trope. Fruit Basket, Case Him Not Me, My Next Life as a Villainess, All Roads Leads to Doom, Kami-sama Case, and last but not least, you know what? I think Yuri on High School get a pass, and even though Yuri on High School gives a lot of prime example of what makes harem anime insufferable to watch, but I give credit where credit due. Yuri on High School is one of the few godfather of anime and one of the few anime that becomes key contributor to the anime popularity boom back in the mid 2000s. I know because I was there. I experienced myself. With all said and done, let's go ahead with the main objective on why I am making this video, and that objective is to spread the grace of the almighty, the queen of reverse harem anime, the greatest real harem to be ever existed in anime history, and that anime is Natekrilly. Before I move further on, can I say how damning underrated this anime is? There are not a lot of people, or not even the popular anime YouTubers, have mentioned this anime except for one YouTuber that have made a video about this anime. Shout out to Ruby Tuesday. If you want a more concise and brief review of the anime, which I'm not going to do in this video since I start off this video with a stupid rant, you can check his icon out.
So Hiru, why is that the anime didn't get that much hype?
I think we all know the reason why the anime didn't get the hype that it deserved, and it's also the same reason why JoJo Part 6 wasn't as hype as the other JoJo, and that is simply it got Netflix jail. The whole season of the anime got released in one big bundle, hence why the hype for the anime didn't even get fired up in the first place. Anyway, what I'm going to do in this video is not only to review the anime but also give points into why is that not only the best reverse harem to be ever existed but also one of the best rom-com to be ever existed. This anime beat anime like Horimiya, Nisekoi, Tamako Love Story, and hell, even beat Oragairu out of the fucking water. Before you get mad, let me be clear, of course not going to be anime like Clannad, Anohana, and Love is War. Those anime are untouchable masterpieces, but one thing I will confidently say is that Romantic Killer are definitely up there with them. Fight me if you want to. So for the first time in this channel, this review will be spoiler free and will have a light spoiler at the end, because usually when I do anime reviews I always have some form of spoiler because I'm such an asshole for it. But anyway, on to the actual review. Let me start off by saying that this anime is basically the Konosuba reverse harem anime. These animes not only break every conventional trope and cliche of a reverse harem, animes also break every conventional trope and cliche of a rom-com too. The story follows a young, energetic girl named Anzu Hoshino, voice acted by Rei Takahashi, my lovely queen.
Oh no, I hope I don't fall.
Hello, how are you? My name is Rie. I'm fine, thank you. みたいな。小学生、中学生レベルだけども。
And her entire life she only had 3 things, and that is video game, chocolate, and her beloved cat. She content with being full with only these 3 things, because unlike other high school girls, Anzu has no time for or interest in romance at all. Until she stumbled upon an annoying ass yellow piece looking ball mob that I convinced probably came the same hell spawn as the saucily hideous motherfucker from Pulau Machikamonoka. Put that aside, this yellow piece looking bald big head that just come out from a shitty 3D Ultimate games that she was playing at that time decided to force Anzu into experiencing a dating game storyline in real life. Yeah, basically the world God only knows and Renai Bukon type shit. Anyway, knowing Anzu, to prevent her from fully protesting the idea, the pissball looking asshole confiscate Anzu's 3 main life essence so to make her focus on the main objectives of having a full Otome experience. At first glance, the story feels like your ordinary run-of-the-mill mysterious entity making the life of the MC hard. It's a verbal type story just like the 2 titles that I mentioned just now, The World God Only Knows and Renai Bukon. My first impression of the first episode of the story are also tame and I don't feel any excitement at all. It made me think to myself that yeah, I might drop this anime. However, funny enough, I actually know about this anime from TikTok of all places. And some snippet of the anime that was posted on TikTok made it seem like the anime have something big going on in the anime, so I braced myself and continue watching until the second episode, and oh boy, let me tell you, I have no regret at all continuing watching it right after the first episode, because afterward, I've watched the entire season in just one sitting with no press break too. That's how amazing and engaging the anime gets after the first episode, because afterward our MC meets her first husband though, Skazakaski, voice acted by Yuichiro Umehara, where things decided to go a lot more interesting, because after their first encounter, the entire anime has nothing but just fun, sad, depressing, anxious, comedy, exciting. And that's the thing what makes this anime so great. The anime respected your time and there's always any moment with that space. But not to say that there aren't any dead space in anime, but at the very least, I didn't find myself looking at the drywall on my room even once throughout watching anime, which is a great achievement in my book. Speaking of achievement, you know what this anime managed to significantly achieve that other reverse harem anime, or hell, even shonen harem didn't even manage to achieve sometimes? Character that has motivation and depth, not only just for the main character, mind you, but for all of the entire cast of character in the show. After Tsukasa, you also got introduced to the child friend of the show, Junta Hayami, and the spoiled rich boy of the show, Hijiri Kagane. Sorry, I may probably butcher the pronunciation, but both which in my opinion are great main character from rom-com standards, even though there's clearly blatant flaws in their character, especially with Junta, as Junta, again in my opinion, is the weakest link of the show, as his existence seems to be downplayed a lot, as most of the show are mostly focused on Tsukasa. Nevertheless, despite of it, he is still a better written character than Chitoge could ever be. You know what, we didn't even need to use Junta as an example of a better written character than Chitoge, because even the extra character of the show, Anzu's best friend Takumi Saki and Hijiri personal bodyguard Tsuchiya is better written character than Chitoge would ever fucking be. I digress, however, since it doesn't take a lot to be a better written character than Chitoge. My point here is that all of the characters in this anime are decently written. Yes, even the tennis ball looking ass motherfucker Riri, even though clearly all of them following some kind of usual trope, however most of them are not. All of them have depth to their character, making them somewhat alive and non-two-dimensional, unlike with most rom-com nowadays. Now let's put back the spotlight onto the main character of the anime, Anzu, cause my god, I never seen the most chaddest main female character in anime in my entire life until I got introduced to Anzu, cause this woman is a man of war for being one of the most baddest female character in recent anime history. She's fun, full of positivity, really passionate, charming, helpful, caring. She has JoJo level of toughness and overall just a fucking great main character. I know what you're thinking. Is she a Marisu in any way? Which I argued no, because she has her bad side. She tends to be hot-headed, insensitive, and slimy at some point. However, it still didn't deter the fact that she is, and if not, one of the best rom-com / reverse harem main character in recent anime history. She's well written, she has depth, she has clear objectives and motivation, and best of all, she always constant with her motive also at the anime, which I think most reverse harem or even usually some rom-com anime suffer. Her determination of not following the usual cliche trope that most reverse harem / rom-com tends to have, while also turning the trope on its head, perfecting the formula, is something spectacular to watch. In a way, this anime is really meta, because what Anzo and the other character represent as character in this anime is the same concept of what the anime is trying to achieve, breaking the trope. Hence the title of the anime, natekrilly. Maybe it's a far stretch, so I'm pointing here, but I think it's poetic if that's the case. Now let's forget about the character and let's talk about the story. How is the story? Without going into spoiler and details, let's just say the story is not the most unique, neither is that special, but what makes the story great, in my opinion, was the execution of every moment, from the funny moment to the sad and tragic moment. Everything about the story was executed perfectly, even though there are dull moments here and there, but overall the story is something that you can get a lot out of, especially at the end of the anime, where let's just say things can go south. I can guarantee that you'll have fun with the story. I've been babbling long enough, so let's just talk brief about the other aspect, production quality of the anime. Okay, the animation. For a slice of life / rom-com anime, this anime has got tier animation quality. My Hero Academia, Boruto, and any other seasonal isekai wish they have this level of animation. Studio Domerica, despite having so little project in their library, they did a really great job for this anime. It's just my way of looking at it, but the way they structured the animation and the visual in this anime is similar to the Monogatari series, in a way where whether it be a normal conversation segment or a group of people doing some activity, there's no moment in the anime where the animation becomes stiff or stale. There's always something to put your attention on in every frame. It's fast-paced and goofy. I could say that the animation stay consistently great all throughout the anime. Sure, it can be overly exaggerated at some points, but based on the first few opening moments in the first episode of the anime, and I'm referring to that shitty ultimate 3D game, everything has its reasoning, and the reason I think is to show that the anime doesn't take it too seriously, which is a good thing, especially in this type of anime. To contrast that, however, when there is a serious moment, the animation becomes slow paced and very deep tone. Okay, last, finally, the OST. I have nothing to say other than the score and OST in this anime is just spectacular. It's done its job really great, and the execution of the OST to fit in with the moment in the anime is harmonic. To simplify, this anime is such a masterpiece. To compare it to other reverse harem anime, or even comparing it to some other rom-com / harem anime that have been released this year, is just out of this world different. Perfect cast of character that are full of flavor and depth, great storytelling by turning a genre upside down, but also execute all of the usual plot perfectly. A gigantic strong chat energy main character that have strong motivation rather than just being a damsel in distress. Godlike animation with great OST to come along with. The anime just has been the most enjoyable reverse harem anime / rom-com anime that I've watched this year, to be honest. No doubt about it, this anime is definitely going up into my top anime list of this year, for sure. So for the rating, technically I would give this anime a 8 out of 10. Again, it's not that perfect. Technically, it's not perfect. There's some flaws here and there, but if I want to rate it based on my enjoyment of the show, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. That is all for this video. Hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, go watch the anime if you haven't, because I really wholeheartedly recommend it. Another thing, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Selamat tinggal, matane, farewell, and goodbye. Oh, and Netflix, please start releasing everything in one bundle. That would be highly appreciated. Thanks.
僕らバカになって宙を待って今だけは忘れてらったた踊り明かそうこの夜を明かそう涙を干して眠るように嘘になってしまわぬように僕じゃない僕にもらったた最低な憂鬱な日ですね君となら僕は